we recording?
And have you tried all the options?
Throw it. There's always like super corny.
Yeah.
That's a good YouTube channel, like streamer, but you're streaming old timey games, or old school 90s toys, 1800 toys, 1600. Like, what did they do in the 1600? Like, did they catch animals and break them on the wheel? What was the game back then?
And you could start every video or every stream introducing disclaimer, remember kids, get your tetanus shot because these toys, they're all made out of rusty old metal.
Rusty metal. Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. Well, welcome to the Save File. We're talking about rusty metal.
Welcome.
We got into that a little bit. I'll probably have to crop that for the end because we got a little bit into that one. Should we should we get to the topic of this episode?
Yeah, you just dive right in.
All right. So today I wanted us to talk about, we don't have to say the power of, but that's just what came to my head because I know we've used that phrasing before for a lot of things, but the power of starting over, or just like the journey of starting over, or just the power of starting over.
Yeah.
So I wrote down a few different questions that I had that kind of correlates to this because I think we both have very different experiences with different versions of starting over in our lives. I want to speak kind of generally speaking. We can get into some future stuff in a little bit. But my first question I wanted to ask to kind of see is, what is the smallest starting over you've ever done that ended up changing way more than you expected?
That's a good question. I saw we sometimes, when I say we, I mean Chris, prepares for the podcast.
It's all right. I don't have 3 kids. It's okay.
And I saw, this is the only question I had the chance to look at before jumping on. But the immediate thought I had, only because we've been playing Mario lately.
Oh, nice.
Mario Sunshine, which we just beat a week ago. And then Mario Galaxy, we've been playing as well. And that was it came to mind in terms of like starting over, like video games. But then the last part of your question ruined that thought because there's no change that came from it. So other than just being mad.
You could say, I actually saw this comparison recently. Someone was talking about how video games used to have that ability, especially like the classic Nintendo games, even made today. Like there's a lot of like redo, but a lot of video games now are made like Battle Royale, or like they're mobile games, and they don't have like the restart like ability. I remember I played the Tony Hawk games a lot, and it's like you really try to get everything done, and then you have to restart, and sometimes you might not have all your progress depending on what it is. Like Mario, you might get a checkpoint, but even they were like few and far between. But I feel like games now, they're just like the reward system is different. I feel like it's not the same as it used to be. I can't remember who was explaining this, but I feel like they were explaining it better. But that is kind of a way that a small like change has affected. Like I'm sure on a subconscious level, it's affected us differently with the types of video games that people have at their availability, or even toys. Like we were talking about toys earlier, and just like the reward system.
That's a good point. Some level of patience that has been nurtured through that effort. And like, I wonder if you could go back and do like a study and get data on this to see like anybody that played Zelda in the Water Temple, like what's their patience like today? Like is it unfathomably higher than everybody else's? Because if you've gone through the Water Temple, it's just the worst experience of your life. So yeah, it is a good point, right? Like video games are very different today. I don't know what it.
They're not as like goal oriented. Like the goal is to like survive or to like kill people. That's it. Like there isn't like objective A, B, C. Do this. You have to do this. You'll have to kill this guy. It's not. It doesn't feel like it's as diverse. It's more connected than ever with like voice chat and like in game like proximity chat and stuff like that. I feel like it's more connected than ever. But it feels like the goals are kind of menial in a way. I haven't played a lot of new stuff. Like I want to play Arc Raiders. That's like a new one. Thought about trying that one out and seeing how that is and how it compares. But it's just they are different. Like if you look at video games from like 80s, 90s, 2000s, 10s, like I feel like there's huge changes every 10 years or so. Even if they're subtle.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think maybe there's a bonus there for people in the future, but like the social aspect, although there's probably not a lot of evidence, at least coming out of COVID, that supports remote relationships being awesome for you. So I actually don't know, but
yeah, the work-life balance is great in a lot of ways. Like I can get so much stuff done, but I do need like a social element that is like very appealing to like my soul. It like touches my soul in a way that like, and it's, I think part of it too is like the effort you have to put in when you're remote. I feel like if you had a team of 5 and you're all remote, or a team of 10, and you put all this effort in, you have like 1 or 2 other people that put an okay amount of effort and the other people who don't, then it feels disconnected. It would work better if everyone put in like a good effort, at least most of the time. And I feel like that just doesn't ever happen. That would make it easier, but I still think you need like those connection points. Cause like if you didn't get them from work, you could get them from other social aspects of your life, but some people don't do anything. So hey, it's a mixed bag.
What's mine, video games and patience, accidentally. That is my answer.
Accidentally. The one that came to mind for me, and this is kind of corny because it's not quite starting over, but I had a really bad habit of, like, because I have ADHD, I have like a bad habit of not remembering things on like a quick micro level. Like I don't know if I talked about this or not, but me and my wife have been watching like a stand-up comedy special, and something will happen and she'll laugh and I'll just be immediately like, what did he say? And she'll be like, you're looking right at it. And I'm like, it's hard to explain. I just blacked out. It just happened. It's really weird. But that happens with like, if I go to fill a glass of water and then I'm like, oh, I see this spoon is dirty. Let me like either put it in the dishwasher or do something else. It's like I have to keep jumping around. So one of the issues that I had was sometimes like getting all the chores done I wanted to, like when I came home. So I followed this tip from someone that was like, don't take your shoes off. I know this isn't quite like starting over. For me, it was like a new way to tackle chores. So to me, it was starting over in a sense. It wasn't just like, oh, I come home, I do the same routine, I go to the bathroom, do whatever. And then it's like, oh, I'm going to see what's on TV, or maybe I'll play a game, or I don't know, whatever it is I was going to do, plan to go out, whatever I had. I would come home and I like swapped it for coming home. Don't take off my shoes, because if I take off my shoes, I'm not going back outside. Like I wouldn't check the mail, I wouldn't take out the trash, I wouldn't do any of those things. So for me, it was kind of a start over, where it's like I took a new approach in a sense. So it's like a change. I don't know if it's starting over. To me, it felt like it was, because I was struggling so long with like, how come I can't get these chores done the way that I want to? And I just couldn't find like the physical motivation or the mental motivation to organize my thoughts to get them done. But for me, it was like, let me try this new tactic. Let's leave my shoes on instead of taking them off. Cause like, that's one of the first things I think a lot of people do when they come home. They're like this off, jacket off, whatever. And it helped. Like, I feel like I will come in, I will run and do whatever dishes, if there's any that are like left over from, the night before we didn't finish or something. Or I'll just like take the trash and do kind of those types of quick things. If I keep the gear on I had at work, I feel like I'm still in like a slight motivated mood. Even if I just left work feeling like no motivation, like, you get to the end of the day and you're like, all my energy's gone from like meetings. I did a lot of work, but like now I'm kind of powering down. When I get home, I can like spend that last little energy. And I feel like that shift and that approach allowed me to do it. And I've been like much better at it on average. I'm still not anywhere near perfect, but it's much better. That's probably what I would think of. Is that was like a new approach, so kind of starting over in a way.
Do you ever? So sometimes.
Oh no! It just like smirk. Good. Sometimes
you're just doing your daily stuff, and it's the best example that I can think of, just because it's so human. You're going to the bathroom. You're on your last roll, boom, it runs out. Okay, but you were able to, it was perfect timing. And then you're like, okay, this is out. I don't have any more toilet paper in this bathroom. How can I'm not gonna do it right now. I gotta go do some other things. How can I remember to get toilet paper back in this bathroom? Do you ever pull the last
little springy
cardboard,
thing? Oh, the cardboard thing. Okay.
The cardboard roll from the last roll and just set it on top of the toilet. So then the next time you come in, it's sitting there and you're like, oh, I put that there because I ran out of toilet paper.
No, I go into the bathroom. I go into the bathroom and I use the bathroom, and then I'm like, Sarah. That's just what ends up happening to me. I've left the roll in the thing, or I've put it on like the counter. I've never put it on the toilet, but I have put it on the counter. But we have like a brownish colored granite, and I feel like it blends in a little bit with my brain. Like on the toilet, it's so much better because there's a bigger contrast.
It's white, yeah, porcelain white. You just stick it on there, and it's like, and you can't do anything unless you move it.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I'm definitely like I shout for Sarah, or I'm stuck in the bathroom for 12 hours, or I gotta hop in the shower really quick. And no, I don't know. I usually get trapped. I should try that though.
Dude.
What were you gonna say? What was your point? Do you do that? Is that why
it sounds like the same principle. You keep your shoes on as a way to like kind of force yourself into doing the next thing, right? Like whatever it is. I think there's a trigger in your brain, like you said. You get home, you take your shoes off. It's the first step to relaxing, and so it's like, oh, cool. Well, my shoes are off, so I guess I'll just be done, right? Like I guess I'm done. So if you keep your shoes on, kind of, it doesn't trigger that part in your brain. It's like a behavioral thing, right? Like, oh, there's a trigger and there's a response, and so the trigger is I take my shoes off, then
the fuel is gone. Yeah, you're out.
Yeah, I'm done for the day. Versus I keep my shoes on. And I guess I could get a few more things done, and then I'll, take my shoes off or whatever. So, trigger response. Toilet paper thing is on the thing. I guess I gotta go get more toilet paper. That was my reminder.
I will try it, and I'll have to report back and see how it goes. Because
sometimes I'll do that with weird stuff though too, right? Like if I don't have a pen and paper, I'll put I'll put something in a weird spot, and then I'll come back to it and be like, "Why is that there?" And they'll be like, "Oh." That's why that's there, is because I forgot I had to do this.
What?
And then
you could have this thing, and you could be like, I'm out of pen and paper, and you just put it somewhere.
Yeah,
and then
somewhere
you're like, oh.
Forced to.
That correlates it? That correlates pen and paper to you?
No, not pen and... Well, not pen and paper, but like a thing I remembered, right? Like, oh, shoot, I remember for work I got to send this email to somebody. But I don't have... my phone, I left it somewhere in that exact moment. I don't have anything to like take note, so I'll just grab an object and I'll put it in a weird spot, and then when I come back to that spot, I'll see it and I'll be like, why is that cup on my laptop? What the heck? And they'll be like, oh, because I gotta send that email. And then
that helps you remember? That is so wild to me. First of all, there's a notes thing. There's sticky notes. There's so many notes
I'm saying there's no note. I don't have my notes. My phone's somewhere else, and
That's wild. That to me, like, I could see how
faster. I'm gonna sit there and write a note. Oh gosh, look at all this time. And
you're like,
boom, cup on the laptop.
Email.
See ya, dude. I'm done.
I
I'll
mean,
remember that.
To be fair, like, my brain would never operate that way, but I could see what you mean. It's another like association type of thing. Like I remember I had this is like there's a good call back to this for The Office when he goes on the what is it called? The lecture circuit thing, and he's doing with Pam, and he's like, Baldy, you're bald, you did this. Like, he relates all the things together. I had a history teacher that taught me to do that, because, like, I liked history, but, like, I was terrible at remembering because there's so many facts to remember, and I used to struggle, and he did that association thing where he was like, well, the year's this, you add those together, and you add those together, it equals this number. There's this many people that did this, and, like, it worked for me. It's weird, but it's kind of the same thing. But I don't think I could do, like, cup on laptop equals email. I think that's, like, a special Shayler thing.
Your bridges in history were kind of long, like Michael's, right? He had, like, a lot of things to
Oh,
get
yeah,
to the
like
end.
10.
But for Ben Franklin, all you had was syphilis, and you just were like, boom, Ben Franklin.
Ben Franklin. That's what he's known for.
That's
Nothing else,
what
just
he's
that.
known for. Yeah.
Yeah, he held up a key and he got syphilis from it.
That's he had too many $100 bills. He got syphilis, huh? Money equals syphilis.
So I have another question I'm curious on.
Yeah.
This could be a small one. I have an answer for this, so I can give you some time to think. But have you ever outgrown a dream you worked really hard for? And this doesn't have to be like career focused. This could just be like, let's say you wanted to live a certain place, or you wanted to have a certain number of kids, or you wanted to, I don't know. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be like work related. So my initial thought is, for me, like music's like a huge thing for me. Like I've written like hundreds of songs, and a lot of them half written or whatever. And I've had probably like 2 complete albums worth of songs that I feel like I finalized but never recorded, or I recorded a little but not like professionally recorded and didn't upload to Spotify or anything like that. And I don't know if I've outgrown it, but it is more discouraging to think that it's like feasible for me to even make, not that I have to be some A-list pop star career, but even to make like a fun, time manageable career out of it with like the other path that I've also chosen. So in a sense, I feel like I've outgrown it. And I don't want to say worked hard for it, because it's not like I went to like tons of clubs and tried to play music, but like I put a lot of time and energy into like learning how to write and like learning how to play guitar a little bit and like understanding like music theory and structure of song and like lots of stuff like that. And I feel like it is weird to look at it and be like, I don't want to waste that. I want to use it. But that's such a hard thing to like pivot and start over on. The one inspiring thing I saw was the artist Jelly Roll, who I don't really listen to him. I think he's like in that country kind of singer-songwriter type genre. He's like a really big dude, tons of tattoos. He won, I think, I don't know if it was a CMA award. He won some Grammys at the Grammys we just had, like last night or whatever. But he won like a year or two ago, one of the big ones, like Best New Artist or something. And he gave this speech where he talks about like, you know, I went through like drug issues. I had like a plethora of different issues. I was up and down in my life, like family, friends, whatever. And he goes, I'm 38 years old, and he goes, I just won this award. He goes, if I can do that, then like anyone can do that. Don't think just because like, you know, you're 30, like it's over. Like they don't want you, like the fresh young meat that's 20 years old gonna make some new pop song. And I was like, that made me feel really inspired. And then you look at Morgan Freeman, who jumped into acting in his like 50s or 60s, and it's like, you never know when it's gonna happen. But that's probably something I think about, is just like, I don't know, something that you could start over on. Do you have anything that's like, again, doesn't have to be career focused. It can be kind of like really anything. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, if we're not doing this podcast in 6 months, then you'll have your answer, I guess. That's, my dream will have died.
R.I.P. Just play the tombstone sounds like, or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know how that goes.
Yeah. No, this has been this is something I've thought about for a long time. Things I've outgrown. That's a good question. I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm in a similar boat to you, and maybe a sense of like, there may have been a time when I felt like things weren't moving fast enough in terms of those goals, right? Like, I like writing whatever, right? Like sometimes I just like writing philosophical things. Sometimes I like writing short horror stories. I haven't done a lot of those, but I've done a few. Just don't have time right now to do a lot of the things that I like aspire to do, but being a little bit older gives me some hope. Obviously that doesn't mean wait, because you never know when your last day will be, but so you try and do a little bit when you can. But getting older gives you that time. It also gives you the experience, right? Like you said, Morgan Freeman is in his 50s. I think a lot of people perform their best work when they're older, just because they have been around the sun a few times.
Even if it doesn't end up being their most popular thing, it can sometimes be, like, I remember me and my brother loved Fall Out Boy a lot, and their last album before they did their hiatus for like 5 or 6 years, that's our favorite album. And it's like got one song that's like critically acclaimed, but I think it's like one of the most ironed out pieces of work they ever did, and they really figured out who they were in that era. And I feel like it didn't get the credit it deserves, so I can totally agree with that kind of level of experience.
You brought that up. Johnny Cash hit me as one that's kind of that way. Like he's known for, you know, Folsom Prison and just pretty much everything he did early in his, mostly early in his career, and then with Waylon Jennings and gosh, can't remember the other guy's name, Willie Nelson. You know, they all did their stuff, and that was kind of his peak. But then he did all these American albums after that, and they're not all great songs, but he's got Hurt that's on there that's super good, and it's pretty popular, but he's got a bunch of other ones that, to me, those are my favorite albums that Johnny Cash ever did, just because of how much emotion that I think goes into those recordings. And so, yeah, that's a good example. Like, it may not be what you're known for, it may not be what other people or the majority of people consider your best work, but it probably is going to be more meaningful to you as a person. Mm-hmm. You'll have had... It's the difference between, not to discredit people in their 20s, that they do go through hard things, and they sing about those hard things, but somebody in their 20s may not have the life experience that someone in their 50s has, and can convey that in a meaningful way to an audience that, like, hey, I've been through some hard things, and it just hits different when you're in your 50s and 60s than it does when you're in your 20s. So
yeah, it's like a whole nother level of experience.
Yeah, I think, like, for me, specifically, like, horror, for me, I always like it when it has a philosophical undertone or something that I can connect to pain in the real world, or just, it's an expression of, you know, something else, some emotion. And when you can always tell when it's just like, this is a horror story for horror's sake, you know, some monster and it's scary, and yeah, sure, it's scary, like that's a creepy story, but when it has like a more deeper undertone to it, then that really kind of lingers with you as, like, sure, that was creepy, but there was something even deeper to that hit different. And I think those are the authors that have gone through a few things in life and can convey that to other people. So
what's that like the shortest horror story? It's like, you were the last man on earth, the phone rang, or something like that. You know that one? Have you heard that one?
I haven't heard that one, but
I'm going to tell you the one really quick that me and my brother used to tell when we were little. I don't know if we heard this from like a babysitter or from like someone in our family. It was like, there's a babysitter, and she's, you know, the kid's in bed, and she's up late, and the power goes out, and it's like, oh no, what's happening? And the phone rings, and then it goes, bloody finger. And then it hangs up. She's like, oh, my God, what's happening? And then she gets another call, bloody finger. And then they say something like they're closer, they're getting closer. And then they hear a knock at the door a little bit later, and and they hear bloody finger on the other side of the door. And they open the door, and the person goes, do you have a Band-Aid? And it's so stupid. As such a like little kid, that's like when we used to tell the blonde, brunette, redhead jokes. I feel like that's where that era comes from, where it's like, we thought that was so funny, and I'm like, this is so dumb.
Yeah, that's right up that alley. Yeah, that's a terrible
10-year-old alley.
It is classic.
Yeah, it's not bad. All right, last one I had, and then I think we'll keep moving. But is there such a thing as a clean slate, or do you always carry something forward? So, to me, it's simply, I don't think there's ever a perfectly clean slate, because I think you're holding on to the things that you learned from. Like, I know the good callback is I've seen those edits that people make online about Tony in the MCU, and they're like, Tony's suit does this now because Tony learns from his mistakes. And it's like all these previous clips from like, oh, from number 2, he learned not to do this anymore, so his suit doesn't do this. And I'm like, what a cool thing to thread for like 10 or 15 years. Like, such a fun, intelligent thing to do. Yeah. So to me, I think you carry those things with you, even some of the worst things, because they remind you of those feelings. And I feel like it better equips you for doing stuff in the future, even if it's baggage. Like, I think it's impossible to completely let go of something. Now, I think you can let go of something or turn it into, or to a point, or you can turn it into fuel, but I think it's never completely gone, at least in my opinion. What are your thoughts? Do you think you can have a fully wiped slate, or do you think you carry it with you, whatever it may be?
I think you can. I think you can have a fully wiped slate if you go through like traumatic brain injury or Men in Black.
Oh yeah, you got the Men in. Yeah, well, you're screwed on that one.
You know, those kinds of things. Full clean slate. Anything else? No. Yeah, you're like you said. Yeah, you're taking those lessons, and you should, right? Like, it actually wouldn't be awesome to have a totally clean slate, because you miss out on the opportunity to carry those lessons forward. I think when I was younger, I would have wished for a clean slate. I would have wished.
Right, you would want the Men in Black thing to happen
like,
sometimes.
just wipe it, wipe it from my mind, everyone else's. Like, I screwed up, and it should be totally forgotten about. And I probably still feel a little bit that way sometimes, but there is a little bit of wisdom as you get older to say, like, yes, like in the moment and with the pain that lingers from the mistake, it isn't fun, but you do learn a valuable lesson, and it's an opportunity to carry it forward. I think it might have been in reaction to our conversation with Carlos on our last episode. I've had this kind of running thought in my head. I need to find a way to finish it, because it needs to have 3 components to it, but
maybe leave a cup on it. You come back to it later, you'll remember.
I've got multiple cups in this room, just looking at them.
Just
saying,
for that.
I got to come back to this. But I'm trying to come up with a saying that, like, I'd really want to leave with my kids, of like looking at life as like a game. It's not like the best analogy. I think people have already done that, but like, life is a game, and every win has a cost, every loss has a lesson. And then that's the last one. I need to find like a third, because everything is better in 3s. But this kind of concept of like, when you win it something in life, it comes at a price, right? Like, you're going to pay a price, and you have to decide what price you're willing to pay to take the win. But every loss, you get a lesson, right? Like,
maybe that's the third one.
Fail. What's that?
Read the last one you just said. Maybe you have to figure out the price to pay. Wait, read the first 2 again. What are they again? Let's see if we can.
Yeah. Every win has a cost,
okay,
and every loss has a lesson.
Has a cost. Every loss has a lesson. Every tie. I was trying to think of the middle one.
Every tie is a waste of time. Yeah. So don't tie. I don't care what you do, but don't tie. I guess that could be. You could use that as like a way to say, like, don't just let life pass you by, right? Like, take the risk. Either win at the cost or lose with the lesson, but don't just let it kind of slip past you. Don't tie it up.
There's like a tight version of that. I think that might work. That's a good one.
Maybe that's it. Anyways, I don't
good
remember where we were going with that. I guess the clean slate. Yeah, I think there's no matter what, you're going to have something. So
yeah. So should we get the topic of this episode started? I think we should get it started, right? I feel like we've been talking forever. We should probably get it started.
We jump in, give him a big quick intro.
Yeah.
Welcome to the save file.
This is the save file.
This is the save. This one.
We should come up with a way to actually intro it. I feel like every time we have an episode, we're just like winging it. We don't have like a ebb and flow.
We got a little jingle.
I guess that's true.
Soundbite that comes in the post edit.
Yeah, that's true.
The actual edit. What is a post edit? Is that after you
anything done post? Yeah, I think it's technically a post edit. Sometimes I edit things before. So that's a pre-edit. Okay, so today.
That's terrifying.
Today I want to talk about the power of starting over. It doesn't have to be the power, but that's just, I know we've kind of referenced that phrasing before, but talk about like starting over in your career. I feel like that would be an interesting topic to kind of break down and think about. I feel like we all have very different types of careers that can look like anything. But my first question is, have you ever stayed somewhere too long because you didn't want to admit you needed a reset? And I can let you, if you want to answer it right away, you're good. Otherwise, I can give a response.
Your response probably gonna be better. Because I hate this train of thought. For me personally, I think it's true for a lot of people. But I only say that because a lot of times you'll see it on LinkedIn specifically. LinkedIn's just the worst, man. Like, it's just awful.
It's definitely become too social media-y, I think.
Yeah, but like with these weird, like, awful business undertones, you know? Like, we'll keep it business, professional, but like, let me teach you about how when I tripped, it taught me these 3 principles of business. It's like, shut up, you know?
And it's just like an average Joe talking about it. It's like, like I have that guy in my office who wanted to talk to you. Like Like there's a psychologist, organizational psychologist, Adam Grant, that I follow. Love him. I love his content. I think we probably talked about him before.
Yeah,
he'll post stuff that I find really intriguing. But then you have Joe Schmo, who's like, everyone has that person at your office, and occasionally they have a nugget that might be valuable.
Sure.
But I don't want to follow another guy who has that. Like I'll stick with the psychologist, and then you can just do your thing, Joe.
Exactly. Yeah, the guy that's like got some actual data to back what he's talking about. That's always nice. That's good. I like reading that stuff, like you said.
Yeah.
But the guy who's just like stubbed his toe and he's like, here's 3 lessons I learned from that. It's like, just all right, guy that works at 7-Eleven. Not that that's bad. It's just
No, but I know what you
had
mean.
A ton of exposure to the real business world,
Or even just the world in general. Like if you're like in your hometown, the same 7-Eleven you went to as a teenager.
Exactly. Anyways, I don't love it. It's this kind of concept that people talk about of like getting fired was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I realized I was just biding time. It was comfortable. And then when I got fired, I had to go do a new thing that really pushed my growth. For me, it's felt the opposite. I got let go of a job that I really loved that was constantly changing and pushing me to do new things, try new things, keep reading, keep learning, and at a quick pace, because I was trying to be competitive in a market where I felt like we were always in last place. And so it was like on me to just like keep driving my team and specifically the revenue function of our small organization forward. And then I got let go. Acquisitions happen, new leaderships come in, you get tossed to the wayside. And ever since then, I haven't felt like I've grown hardly at all. I feel like I've gone the other direction of those. It's the opposite for me, where I've been pushed into roles that I don't. It feels like I'm comfortable there because it's just, there's not a lot going. There's not a lot of competition in that kind of stuff. Part of that's probably me mentally, but I also think it's just true of the role itself. And so anyways, I don't know that I resonate. I don't love, I think it can happen for sure.
Yeah, I was just going to say, there's probably people who definitely have that like experience. And I know it's like it's a really popular storyline to choose for like film and television for people to do that. It's really like theatrical at this point. But for some people, it's very genuine. I'm sure it's totally happened. I think a lot of people that go on Shark Tank end up having that type of conversation where they're like, I was forced to do this. I thought I was going to be in medicine my whole life. And then this happened and blah, blah, blah. So it does happen. There is some sort of like level of romance to it, I think, that has become romanticized in like a negative way. It's funny because I don't think I fully relate with that either, because I've never had a job where like I was like, like miserable and got like, well, I had a job where I didn't like it and I was miserable and I did get let go from, but it wasn't like that level of, dramatic effect. And I also went right back into the same industry. It didn't even matter. So, the thing that I have, it's my experience and my example is I was in the same like call center environment like for probably 7 years in different industries. So that was kind of cool because it was like I was under insurance, then I was under like tech, I was under sales, I was under, what was the other thing? Like retail and like merchandising. I was under like different, that kept me kind of going. And I remember every time I went to another interview for a different job, I was like, I like that I have like a diverse background. I think it's interesting to me because honestly, it's probably the only thing that kept me going, because if I had taken the same type of like phone associate job over and over again in the same field, I think I would have imploded on myself, or something. So at one point I like pushed myself out to change that. And what's funny is the first job I did, I was supposed to go to a new job and I was supposed to have another like phone type position as an associate. And I was like, I walked out of this conversation that I had with a kind of our coordinator for like, when we start, like the trainer person we have. And I was like, what do I have to do to go to this other team that was like a chat and email team? So still an associate, but like no phone calls, and I have different responsibilities. And to me, it just felt like at least it was different. And he was like, he gave me the spiel without even looking at me. He gave like he's like writing something. 6 months, a year, you can kind of like blah, blah, blah. Like very typical corporate, just checking boxes, getting me out of the room, talking to the next person. And I walked out of that room and I stood there and I remember this felt like I was in a movie and I was like, and I was like, do I want to do this again? Because I keep doing this and it's not getting me really anywhere. I get tiny little bumps in pay. My happiness level barely changes. So I walked down to that other team where I'd already met some people from it over the last couple weeks in training. And I talked to them and I asked the manager who I had never met. And I was like, what do I have to do to get on this team? And he was like, well, have you ever, done this role before? And I was like, yeah, I really hadn't. I was like, I kind of dabbled in something, but not really as a job. And then he gave me like some tests, some quizzes, whatever. A few weeks go by. I'm finishing training and I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I'm probably not going to get it. So the morning of, I'm having phone issues, and who was supposed to be my manager, she's trying to help me get my stuff set up. And the other manager walks over and he goes, you guys having some like technical issues or difficulties? We're like, yeah. He goes, doesn't matter. We're going to play you to our team. And I was like, I was like insane. And to me, the biggest thing was that I wouldn't have done that had I not just asked. Like I wouldn't have been able to do that. And to me, that changed my trajectory in a lot of different ways, because only a couple years in there, then I went to a whole different like inventory team, like whole different universe. And I think it gave me the courage to just like, if I just asked the question, if I wouldn't know if I just didn't apply. Like it's just that simple, and it's so dumb, but it's so simple. And then I transitioned completely into the role I am now, which is like the design and stuff that I do now. And that was the same thing. Like I built a portfolio up by just over the years creating these games and fun things that I like to do in the other jobs. And I just applied. And if I didn't apply and just do the interview, it wouldn't have happened. It seems so arbitrary, but it's just true. Like that's what it was. And I feel like if I had stayed there for a very long time, I would have been caught there. Like if I just didn't do that one pivot, I think I would have been caught. And I've seen other people get caught in that cycle, and like some people are fine with it, and that's totally cool. I'm not knocking on people who like to do that. Like some people, I think in work, there's people who want to grow. There's people who want to do the job and they like it, and it's totally fine. And then there's people who are just trying to get paid. And I respect all three of those on different levels. Some people are like, job is a job. Like I've created a life in travel or family or friends or whatever. Don't care about what I do for the other hours of the day. Some people who want to like conquer that company, that world, they want to do something crazy. Or some people like doing exactly what it is. Like, I'll be honest, like nurses are massively underpaid, but they still do it because I think they get a lot out of it, as miserable as it can be. So it's a very long way of saying, like, I feel like if I had stayed there, like, cause I felt like I was in that universe too long, and I had to get myself out of it. That kind of carries into my next question of, do you think people are allowed to reinvent themselves multiple times, or do you expect them to stay consistent? And this is a good question, I think, for the career world, because there's value in both. Because let's say you're working at a company and you have a really good skill, but you're not using it in the role that you're in. Well, reinventing yourself could work in that benefit of that company, whether it's your company or somebody you work for or whatever. But at the same time, it's like maybe they love how good you are at what you do, so they want you to stay consistent at it. But it's like you can't trap someone from growing. I feel like it's so conflicting. What are your thoughts on consistency versus reinventing all the time? And that could be every couple years even.
Yeah, that's probably where I sit, is reinvent. I don't know if I'd call it reinventing, but I don't have like a strong background in any one specific skill set. I think like if I were to put my manager hat on or my leader hat and I was looking to hire somebody, if it was for a very specific job, then you'd want them to have like a specific skill set, right? Like if the job is to be an accountant, then you'd better find somebody who has some experience doing accounting. Otherwise, they're going to be prone to messing up some very important information. So I think depending on the job, right, that's what I would probably look at. But if I know I'm hiring for something, let's say I'm in a company and we're starting a new revenue channel and it's ambiguous and I don't really know what it's supposed to look like. I just know we need to do it. I might find somebody like me who has a very diverse. I've done accounting, I've done sales, I've done marketing, I've touched every part of a business. And so I'd want that person to be in that spot to just handle the growth and scale of that. because I know that person can handle ambiguous situations where the job requirements are a little less defined, a little loose. So that's a very technical, I guess, answer to your question. But yeah, I think there's room for both. It just depends on what the job is. And if it's, so I'd say on the scale, right, the more rigid it is, the more you're going to want to find somebody with a pretty strong skill set in that thing. The more flexible and ambiguous that potential role is, then you're going to want somebody who's a little more of a generalist and has done a lot of things and can roll with the punches a little better than somebody who's kind of stuck in their confined box. Not that those people can't do the job and wouldn't, but if I'm looking at it from that perspective, I'd probably lean that way a little more. So, and in
sometimes you
of,
can see it.
Yeah,
like you can see it in the person. If like the value of the way they're trying to transition, you're just like, oh, I couldn't stop you from doing this if I wanted to. Like you're clearly going to be much better at this. I can't hold you back. Even if you're great at this, like you're clearly, even if it's like a huge left turn and type of career they have, it's like, not that you want to hold anyone back from anything they want to try, but I feel like the people that are doing that, like they clearly know that that's what they want to do, or they've been validated and like they're good at that, so they're going to take that leap and make that jump. But then again, I watch like American Idol auditions on YouTube, and I see these people that come up and they're like, and I'm like, how many people have told you that you're that good? Like you would come out, and then they get angry when they don't get it, and I'm like, how did you get this far in life to like 25, and people say that you're. So I don't know. Maybe people do.
Well, yeah, the arts is a little different though too. Like I would have a harder time saying to somebody like you're a bad singer than I would saying like you're not great at sales. Like, and that's okay. Like you can do other things, but you're not a good salesman. It's a little different, right? It's like it's a little more personal when it's like, oh, my singing sucks versus like, look, it's fine. You're just not a good salesman, but you'll find something else that you're good at. But that's like true. Your true joy, right? Is like singing. It's hard to just drop a nuclear bomb on somebody like that. So, but yeah. So yeah, I think people, they can reinvent themselves. And like you said, it's probably more likely if they have a propensity to want to do that, they have an interest in it, you know, whatever it might be. And then the opportunities that are awarded to them, you're not going to find a lot of tax. I use accounting because that's a more solid background I have, but you're not going to find like a lot of tax managers who go out and become marketing experts or whatever
ship captains.
Yeah, that's a good one. Very far. But
yeah, I know what you mean. Like they know their lane a little bit. Like they've figured out their lane for a while.
And they'll do sales. They'll do things that are ancillary to that role because they want to. Everything requires business. Everything requires revenue. So almost everybody ends up doing something in sales, whether that's your job title or not. You're doing some selling at any point. But yeah, going out and being like an ice road trucker probably not going to happen. But good. Trucker. You never know.
That's true. Any other thoughts on the career stuff?
I have a lot, but we can.
Well, I mean, yeah, we should probably get the show started, right? Like, should we get started and get the topic of this episode?
We've had our intro. We've bantered. I think it's time for us.
Yeah, we finally get into it.
Welcome.
To the file.
There you go. Yeah.
Wait, let's try it again. Let's do it. Let's do it. Movie. Let's do it like movie energy.
What's
like
that?
Movie trailer guy.
What's that? Movie trailer guy. What? Welcome
to the save file.
Nice. Okay.
But yeah,
so add like an explosion in there. I tried it on my end. It doesn't work. You have to do it post edit, mid, in the middle of the edit.
Post edit, pre edit.
Today, Junior.
Today, Junior. So yeah, I wanted to talk about like the power of starting over. I know we say like the power of, I feel like we've kind of used that phrase before, but basically starting over. But for what I was thinking was a focus on like setting goals, and like how you would go about starting over in your life, and maybe just questions that are surrounding that. Like my first one is, what's the cost of not starting over? And that could mean anything. Could be like, I know we haven't really talked about career stuff. It could be like career stuff. It could be just any aspect of life. Could be like you could speak to like past relationships. You could speak to where you've chosen to live, or I don't know. But yeah, what's the cost of not starting over?
That's a tough one. It's hard because I reached out to some business guy on LinkedIn. I don't know how many years ago. I don't know. 3 or 4. Got some weird noises today. Yeah, 3 or 4 years ago. And I was asking for his advice on, something. I don't remember what I was dealing with, but he had a great response, and he said it's really hard to A/B test your life. So if in marketing, it's probably similar in other aspects of business, but A/B testing, right? It's really a scientific thing, right? Like you're gonna have a control group, and you're gonna have a different group, and you're gonna test them side by side to make sure you understand what inputs are causing the different outputs, right? You don't want to change too many things at once or whatever. So this kind of A/B test, right? Like here's A and here's B, and I'm going to test them side by side and come to a conclusion. And that's always stuck with me of like, but in life, you don't really get that chance. Like in marketing, you can run 2 campaigns and you can see side by side what performed better. You don't get to do that in life. You just have to,
if you do, there's a lot larger consequences. Like you can't, like you're messing with other people's lives. Like you can't just be like, I'm going to date this person for a year, and then we'll date the other person for a year, and then I'll try to choose. It's like you can't really do that.
I've heard heroin's bad, but I don't really know. So I'm going to try
let's test it out.
Yeah, we'll test it, and I'm just going to confirm that that's true.
Yeah. And then next year we'll try something else.
Yeah, it'll be fine. I'll stop. If it's bad for me, I'll stop, and then I'll do something else.
Totally won't get addicted or nothing. It'll
exactly.
be
good. Yeah, consequences are. Yeah, it's a little different. They may last and linger.
I guess it's kind of a loaded question to say what's the cost of not starting over because it's so hard.
I think that's what I'm saying is like you really don't know, right? Like for sure there's an opportunity cost somewhere, right? There always is an opportunity cost because whenever you choose to do one thing, there's another like business maxim that, we probably need less of those, but it's like anytime you say yes to something, you're saying no to everything else, right? Like, that's just a life choice thing. So, those potential no's, hard to know the cost, right? That's where that A/B test kind of comes in. Is like you can't really do that, so you just really don't know what the cost is.
They're all assumptions. Like I guess you could say that not ever starting over on something, there's probably a good % chance that you might not have a good level of growth as a person. Yeah. I feel like it's almost impossible to not start over on anything, like whether that's like diet and health or working out or school or like work or career, life, or relationships, whatever. I feel like it's like impossible to not start over on something, but that would be an interesting experiment to have like the guy who tried to not start anything new for a year and just like be plateaued on everything, like drink the same amount of water, drink the same exact meals, like parsed out like each week, like just try to see how you are as a human a year from there, and see like how that works.
It's like you could get Jim Carrey back, but it would be no man instead of yes man. It would be no man.
Oh.
He just says no to everything. It's like, hey, you want to go on a no, nope.
Nope, can't. Got to do the same thing I did yesterday.
What kind of movie would you have? That's the kind of life you'd have. That
would be interesting.
But it could be crazy,
I feel like you could do a no man episode of a TV show. Like you could do like It's Always Sunny. You could have like a funny episode where it's like they say no all the time. But yeah, I feel like an hour and a half, 2 hour movie of that would be harder to pull off and be funny. Unless you're like Mr. Bean, like they cast Mr. Bean and there's no talking, but he's just going like this all day. Just
that'd be funny.
It's all sketches.
I'd watch that. Yeah,
Atkinson's hilarious.
I think it could be indicative of how your life would be in that kind of state of like never starting over. But I guess we're also not talking about necessarily like changing. We're not saying don't change or don't do something new. We're saying don't start over, right? Like never start over on something, which I think is a little different. Like, what would it look like if it was a movie about a guy who like tried something new and he failed and then he just gave up right away? That's kind of more what we're talking about, right?
That's true. That is true. That's more accurate.
So, which would be kind of sad, you know? It's, I don't know. Like you said, starting over, no one escapes it. You have to do it all the time. And it's honestly sometimes brutal, right? Like I was training for a marathon a few years ago. Mm-hmm. I got injured. It's a full redo. I was out 6 weeks, all the cardio, vascular gains, VO2 max, whatever stupid metrics you want to use. But just getting out and running, I felt so good, you know, right before it happened. And then 6-7 weeks later when I started running again, it was like I full restarted on running, like as like like I got winded after a mile when I was running like 12 miles, no problem before. And it's like, it's just hard to grapple with. It's like, man, I made so much progress and now I'm back to 0.
Oh,
and
I don't think we've ever talked about that. I didn't know that happened. I can relate to you as well because when I started doing my swimming stuff, where I was really routine with it. I was like an hour and a half swimming every day. I was burning like 2,000 calories from my swim every morning, and it felt great. Like the morning, I reset. I felt really great in the morning. It was perfect. I lost like 60 pounds, and then I think we went on a trip or something, and it's hard when you're traveling because you can't do the same routine, and it's like I don't really love running. It's not like it doesn't like me, and I don't like it. Like when I played soccer/football, I was a keeper, and I hated running. They used to put me in the front of the group, and they were like, "You got to move," so that I didn't hold them back from the time we had to make on the laps, and I hated it. So it's hard for me to pivot unless when we went to Hawaii, we would go to the beach and I would swim in the water and I would get my swim in. I looked kind of ridiculous because Sarah was like having fun and I was like, I'm just doing my laps, going back and forth in the waves. Just looking at my watch every couple minutes. But when I stopped doing that, I feel like I hated it because like it's one of the best feelings in the world to look back a year and be like, I'm so glad I did. I started that a year ago. Ugh. And then it's a worse feeling when you look back and you're like, ugh, if I just started a year ago, like I would be in a whole different place now. So I've been inconsistent with it lately, and I'm trying to just hit it every day and like start swimming again and build a routine. It's still a little cold out here, like even to swim, but I've been trying to make it work. I'm sure I'll find a new groove because I can't quit. I don't know if not starting over and quitting are necessarily the same thing. They're probably cousins. They're not as much like, or maybe siblings to each other. They're not identical, but yeah, it's hard to do that. What happened with your injury? Did you just like do something to your ankle or something?
Yeah, I think it was a hair. I never went to get it like diagnosed, but I think it was a hairline fracture in the area right where like your foot meets your shin. Like the top of your foot meets your shin. There was just some. Every time I would go, I could run no problem. Like I actually could just go out and run like 6-7 miles. But then the pain after like being done and like getting to the office and sitting down working the whole day, it was just near agonizing pain. So
I thought you were gonna say. I can run, but I can't jog. I was just thinking like you write a book about the man who can only run, and I was just thinking
sprint.
like
I could
walk,
only sprint, but I can't. Yeah, I couldn't do anything else.
You're like otherwise it hurt.
Yeah, it's its own kind of hell. And
that would be rough though. To be like, oh, I'm done, and now it's just like throbbing in pain, and you're just like, ah.
Yeah. That's what sucked. Yeah, I was like, I can run, like I can go out and do a few miles, no problem. But then afterwards is when the pain came. So, and then you sit on, your hands for 6 weeks, and you're back to square one. So it's like I haven't gone out and tried to do a marathon. I just done other things. I've started lifting weights again recently, and now I've got 2 hernias. So I'm about to give that up for 6 weeks.
Oh my gosh, dude!
I was doing good.
You have 2. You had to get 2 hernias.
I've had them for a long time, but
I've
managed them well. Mostly because I haven't lifted weights, but I've wanted to get serious about losing weight and building muscle, and I've got Gemini working for me as a personal coach, just giving me all the answers to like what do I eat from this restaurant and how much of this, and it's just it's one of those things where I feel like it's like I've kind of rewired my brain a little bit to get like a dopamine kick from just like getting the right answer of like, yeah, I ate like this meal was like mostly protein and no calories and no, just kind of like getting the hits from that. And it's like lifting weights, I can see I'm getting more muscle mass. And then this last week I was doing some weightlifting and my hernia felt like it was just about to give. So I've had it diagnosed for like 7 years. To both of them, I had them diagnosed 7 years ago, and I've just managed it pretty well. But literally any time I started lifting weights again, it's like, you're done. So I'm probably just
Is that something where like you don't have to get surgery on it if it's really bad or like in pain or something?
It's basically like there's like a period of like it's okay and then it's not okay. Like it's pretty suddenly abrupt where it like transitions into the not okay realm.
You're like, got it, I got it. Ah! You're just like out of
it's
nowhere.
pretty much like that. Like right now it's still manageable. I can feel it. I can tell it's there, which is not been the case. Like I could feel it sometimes, but then it'd go away. This has lingered for like a week, which is pretty abnormal. So that's why I'm thinking I'm pushing it a little too far. I'm a little close, but it's basically like it's fine until like your skin starts to turn a weird color and you can't use the bathroom normally and you're like doubled over in pain. Like there's like a threshold. So I'm not there yet. But if I keep pushing myself without getting it fixed, I probably will be. It just sucks that I've done all this work over these last, 2 months, and now it's like, sorry, pal. 6 weeks bed rest, can't lift anything over 5 pounds, and your muscle's going to eat itself because that's what happens when you don't use them. So got to get to work. Now you get to restart.
Is this something that Danny was like, should we get a surgery done? Has she like, or is she kind of like
me to do it?
I feel like this is classic like male female energy. Like my buddy at work, Cole, he came in and he had like a bug bite on his like shin or his like ankle, and I was like, he was talking about it, so already it's like bad enough to talk about because like I get bug bites, I don't mention them, and so he mentioned it, and I was like, oh, you've had? He's like, yeah, I've had it for like a couple days. I was like, is it getting worse? He goes, I don't know. It got more red, and it is itchy. And I'm like, okay, so it sounds like it. He goes, I'll give it some time. Like, should you go get it seen? He's like, I don't think so. Like, he ended up being fine. But on a serious note, that's kind of terrifying. There was a coworker who said something very similar. And it was like her cousin or nephew or something. He had a bite, didn't go for like a week, went in, and then he had to have like his whole ankle like dug out because it was like he got a really bad infection from like a bug, whatever it was that bit him. And to me, Arizona, out in the West in general, we have tons of bugs. So it's like he's originally from like Washington State, so like not in Seattle, but like maybe 40 minutes outside of Seattle, and he probably has different kinds of bugs there. So I was like, my immediate thought was like, you could have gotten bit by like a weird spider that you don't even know like exists around your house in your neighborhood. But he ended up being fine. But I do the same thing. Like I have bad back issues, and like I do blame it on the fact that like my dad always had back issues growing up. My brother has back issues as well. Both of them do. So like my dad has degenerative disc disease. So we all have like issues with our different discs and stuff. So I do lean on that just because I know that it's like a hereditary based thing, what we have going on specifically. But I know there's times where like Sarah has been like, you should just go be seen. And I'm like, no, it's all right. And then I'm like on the couch for 2 weeks with heating pads, and I'm like working. This was a while ago, but I was like different job even. I was like working from there, and I'm just like, no. And then I'll just watch Shawshank Redemption for the third time. And it's like, it's hard to want to go there. I have this fear of like things are going to get worse, or it's going to like end up being 10 times worse to solve it rather than just like, I can just deal with it. It's probably some toxic masculinity in there of just like, I can deal with it. It's fine.
The evidence, the longer you go, the evidence piles up that you can manage it.
Right.
It's been 7 years. Like I'm fine. Like nothing's happened yet. And all the while, the reality is that every day my abdominal wall slips just a little bit bigger each time until finally.
It's like California is slowly slipping into the ocean.
Yeah, exactly.
More and more. Yeah. And nothing like nothing makes you feel better than like I have like a tonsil thing that I've talked to Carlos about, who we just had on the show. And I'm like, yeah, it's like this weird swollen thing. And you know what? It doesn't really bug me. I'm fine unless I get sick. Then I'm like a little more like hacky than normal. And he goes, oh, I have something like that too. It's been like 6 years. I haven't done anything about it. I'm like, oh, like then you get fully negatively validated. You're like, oh, like we're dealing with it. Like, this is normal. And it's like, no, probably not.
Yeah, no, it's a tough one, and it's just the concept of full redo that it's just hard to commit to. Like I was supposed to call him today, get it scheduled. I didn't because I was like, I'll be out for 6 weeks, so or I could just keep pushing myself, and I've been fine so far. So yeah, it's a tough one. Starting over is, I mean, the general consensus of that conversation is starting over sucks.
Yeah, it's always daunting to look at. Even though it ends up in reality not being as hard as you think it's going to be, it feels like, well, okay, sometimes it can be really horrible. But like my dad, when he hurt his back initially, he had to go through like physical therapy and everything again to like actually be better at walking and whatever, because he had muscle issues with like death in his leg, all kinds of issues. And he was in a wheelchair for a short period of time. And I remember my mom getting really mad at him and was like, the doctor told them in the room, if he doesn't get up from the chair and like start working on it, he's going to be stuck in a chair for the rest of his life. And he obviously did figure that out. Like a couple years ago, he was like hiking the Grand Canyon and stuff. So he figured it out. But like, it's probably so daunting to be like, oh, I got to go do physical therapy. It feels probably, what's the word for like emasculating, but about being an adult? Like it feels like child, like, there's probably a word that makes you feel like you're a kid even though you're an adult. And it's just like, you don't want to have to be like, oh, I got to learn how to walk again. I have to dedicate time to that. And it just feels, I don't know. It just doesn't feel, it's not good.
That's like a really good example, because we're not talking about like things you want to achieve, like goals, like I want to build more muscle or run a marathon or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's like walking. It's like your body has gone through this level of trauma and pain that it can no longer, you've lost that function the way you used to do it. Now you have to relearn how to walk under your new circumstance. And it's like, yeah, dude, I was doing this when I was 2. This is stupid. So yeah, I could see that. That would be tough. But yeah, I think there is like a philosophical principle, because I'm going to throw in some philosophy because I have to.
Okay, you're good. And I have one last question after that.
Okay, we'll just do this real quick. Just a thought I had, but just this kind of concept of like, you said starting over is never as hard as you kind of think it is, which I actually do think is true, only because once you start doing it again, you remember pieces of kind of, like a lesson that you've learned from mistakes in the past or whatever, right? You've done it before, so you kind of have the basic mechanics down, right? It's like, okay, I have done this before. It sucks that I have to restart, but I'm going back into it with a different mindset versus we may look at something new as less daunting, right? In the sense that like, oh, I want to try this new thing. Like, it's going to be hard, but I can do it, right? Like, I'll be able to do it. And then you actually get into it and you're like, oh, this is so much harder than I was expecting it to be, but you had no previous context, right? And so I think it's just this weird kind of this kind of frame of mind where like after having done a thing, getting back into it is actually less daunting and less hard than you probably think it'll be, versus like getting into a new thing is actually probably harder than you think it'll be, just because you've never done it right before. So kind of an interesting juxtaposition of new things, challenges in life. So
yeah, I agree. Last one. And I have one for this off the rip, just because like I feel like it's a good lyric that hits with me. But what would you?
Sorry. What? You said it was off the rip, dude.
What? What? Just rip sound effect. Just.
No, the rip one I did, that was perfect.
All right. What would you tell someone who feels like it's too late to begin again? And for me, I feel like that correlates with this lyric that's, you've walked through harder times and walked out the other side. So to me, that correlates with starting over, because I use this metaphor. Anytime you start a new job, even if it's like the same work that you've done, you have started like a new ecosystem with new people and new whatever. And maybe there are aspects of your job, although similar, they are different. Like the matrix at my current job, like the way our org structure is totally different than what I've dealt with in the previous jobs I've had in this field. It feels like you're going in as a freshman again at high school. And you were like, oh, it's just a senior. Like I spent years getting to that spot, and now I got to be a freshman again. And I could apply to obviously high school and college, but I just like, I hate that feeling because like I want to be the person who's a resource. I want to help people, or at the very least, like do my job. I know I can do it. I hate like having to ask a million people things, like things I wouldn't know, not for my own fault, just because I'm new. And I hate like going through that. It's just not fun. But every time I remember, like, I start a new job, I'm like, I did this before. Like, I can do it again. Even if I didn't have that example of, like, going through school, like, you went through, like, new sports teams as a kid. Like, you went through this type of thing, and you've made it out alive. You could totally do it again, and it's manageable. It just seems terrifying at the moment because, like you said, you haven't done it, so you don't know, even if there's similarities. So that would be mine. If you walk into harder times and walk out the other side. You've done it in the past, you can do it again.
Yeah. I think that's probably the best advice you can give, right? Like, is to try and help somebody instill confidence in themselves by reminding them of the times that they did that they had done something like that in the past. And so, yeah, I don't know if there's a better answer to that type of scenario. I felt like I had a different thought, but I lost it. But yeah, I think getting your confidence back. The thought I had, you used a good example with high school. Mm-hmm. I think there's the confidence level, but if you wanted to approach it a different way, maybe a different perspective, is to say, like, would you really want to be that guy who just stayed in high school forever, like as a senior? Or would you want to take the next step, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can get
even if it's into the unknown, like you can't stay there forever.
Yeah, like you could, but I mean,
well, you won't.
That guy.
Ideally, you wouldn't want to. Yeah, looking back, you'll end up regretting it possibly.
Your Uncle Rico out in Idaho tossing the football to himself because he's stuck and being top game of senior year. So, yeah, I think that's kind of where you get maybe stuck a little bit of like, so I think instilling the confidence, but then also like a fresh perspective of like, sure, like you could be the senior in high school forever, but that doesn't sound awesome. So it's just part of life. Everybody, no matter where you're at in life, the 70-year-old, the 80-year-old, the 90-year-old, they're all starting new things, whether it's like how to deal with a spouse that's gotten sick, whether it's how, like, even at the tail end of your life, there's going to be new.
Right. What do you do with all this time you might have now?
Yeah. I've got all this time. How do I utilize it to the best of my talents, abilities, whatever? Or do I just want to sleep? Like, that's also fine. You've had a long life.
Veg out and watch every streaming service.
Yeah. Just sit back and watch the Terminator trilogy. It's like, well.
The extended cuts of all of the Lord of the Rings, all the extended cuts of all of the Harry Potter, all those big franchises.
Just whatever you want to do. But yeah, I think you'll always be facing new challenges and starting over on all kinds of things your whole life. So yeah, maybe just try to find a way to accept it.
I don't think I always agree that, like, I don't agree with the obsession that I think our human race has sometimes with growth. Like, it's just me personally. I get why some other people do, but I don't personally resonate with the obsession of growth. But I can't disagree that, like, I resonate with the idea of growth and like starting over. Like, I feel like you have to do it. Like, whether you want to or not, like, life's gonna push those things in front of you and push you into ways that you have to start over, like you said, whether it's something really sad or maybe it's a good thing. Like, you get excited and offer, you get like some crazy offer to all of a sudden do some job, and it's just like, it's terrifying, but like, am I gonna not take it? So like, just try it.
Have a baby.
It'd be interesting.
Having a baby, getting married, those great things, but scary and new and hard to know what you're getting yourself into. So, yeah.
You know who knows a lot about starting over? Bill Murray.
Bill Murray.
Yeah, he was in that movie with the
Ghostbusters.
Horse Hog Day. Ghostbusters. Oh. No, yeah, Ghostbusters. You're right. No, wait.
It's not Horse Hog, dude. It's Sky Hog. Okay.
Oh, is that the one where he's got like a superhero like persona? He's the Skyhog.
He's the Skyhog, dude. He's taken out. He's got his arch nemesis. Repeating experiences day after day. Man.
Yeah, McStevie. No, his last name's McStevie in the show. Yeah, McStevie. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. That's his name. I forgot what you just said, but that's the name. Repeating
experiences day after day. Man. That's his super villain name.
It's funny. I thought today was a holiday. I don't know. Maybe it's not.
Martin Luther President's Day.
Martin Luther President's my mom's birthday. That's what it is.
Is your mom's birthday?
No, it's not her birthday.
Happy birthday.
Her birthday's in June.
Chris's mom.
I was gonna say, I feel like you probably don't remember my parents' names, do you? I'm really good at this stuff. I'm really weird. I remember both your parents' names.
No, you don't.
I'm really weird. Yeah, I do. Tiffany and Scott.
Jeez,
I remember him.
That's crazy.
I'm really good at that. Like, I freaked my brother out once because I knew his best friend's birthday and his siblings' birthdays, and he was like, "Why do you remember all this?" I was like, "I don't know. It's just I have like a terrible memory at times, and other times it's really good. It's almost like I'm living every day over and over again in some capacity. It's kind of
Groundhog Day.
Yep.
That's it. Holy smokes, dude. You were saying day after day, and then boom, something clicked up in the old noggin. Groundhog Day. Bill Murray, a bunch of other actors and actresses. Premise. A bunch of
other people.
He gets stuck.
Puxawani Phil.
The same. Yeah. Puxawani Phil, dude. He gets stuck in the same day over and over again. That's called Groundhog Day. And that's today's holiday. That's crazy.
I wish we had known that when we started the podcast. That would have been.
I know, dude.
That would have been funny.
Like if we had repeated something.
Yeah, so many missed opportunities. Oh well.
Jeez,
that's all
dude.
right. But, hey, you know what? There's always an opportunity to start over next time.
There is. Also, there's always a new opportunity for a new outro. Do you want to?
Oh yeah.
Are you ready for? Because I got a new one.
Wait. Hold on, wait.
Jeez, man. This is taking a while.
All right, I'm ready. Oh, God, my life. Okay, I'm ready. Go.
Okay, the outro is starting now.
A scale of 1 to 10.
Dude, you're a 10, man.
No, on an audio level. 10 being like, I gotta take it off, and 1 being like, what? I can't hear you at all.
I feel it's pretty good. Like when I re-listen to it, it's like right there in the 5, 6, maybe like slightly you're edging onto the, 6 territory.
Okay, I'm trying to like alleviate some of the time where I know I'm gonna get louder later, even if it like I have to be a little quieter earlier. It's a natural projection in my voice. I hate it. Me and my siblings all have it. We all have like my dad's like, oh, I don't need a microphone. I'll just talk on the stage, and people will hear me all the way in the back.
That's not a bad thing. Mine's the opposite.
But you're not like timid. You're not like a mouse. Like I've met some people who are like a mouse.
Yeah. No, it's just literally my voice doesn't carry. I don't know. There's nothing I can do about it. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how confident I am. Doesn't matter. Like unless it's either this or it's yelling. Like those are the two. Those are the two spectrums that I have. So
you're just like, it's like that time I saw you with Will when he ran to chase the birds. You were like, well, hey! You just like switched from one to the other.
Yeah. It's like that. That's all it is, man.
How's oh yeah, you started the podcast already, huh? How was the getting the kids down?
It was just great.
What was it? What was like? Were they just like? Are they just like not tired? Like, what's the energy?
Yeah, like it's just bedtime. I don't know. I don't know if it's all kids, but my kids have always hated bedtime. Never liked it.
I don't think anyone ever likes bedtime.
Sometimes they just give in and they do it, or in other times it's like, tonight.
Wait until you get the where the oldest can stay up a little longer than the rest. I remember because my sister, like, because there's a little bit of an age gap, so they might be able to like step into that earlier, and they're just like, well, they can just stay up, and it's like, well, they're older than you now.
Especially when Will and Emma share a room, so
okay,
it's never gonna. Whenever Emma starts staying up, Will's gonna. He'll be right there. Like it won't happen. He won't go to bed without her. So.
Oh. I remember sharing a room. That was fun. Me and my brothers all shared a room until I don't actually remember. We were probably we had like a 4-bedroom house, like my parents and then other, but technically one of them was like an office that my dad had. So really, me and my 2 brothers shared a room until we were probably like 10, maybe 8 or 9. But me and my other brother like shared it, after that for a few more years before my parents split up. But I just remember looking back at old photos where you have like the bed and it's a bunk bed, and then off the other side of the bunk bed there's like a third bed coming off. And our neighbor, who's really good at like woodworking stuff, he built it for my mom for us to use. And going in that room now, dude, I don't know how you fit 1 kid in there, let alone 3. I know we were little, but still, like, it's not a very big room.
No. Yeah, it's interesting how like the dynamics have changed as far as like what our parents and then certainly our grandparents like had to deal with in terms of house sizes and just how small the rooms were and just put a bunch of kids in one room. So it's interesting.
I remember going back to Michigan and I would see, like my uncle's house was, I think, a fairly normal, like the uncle that we knew really well. It was a fairly normal house. But I don't think that's the house they had the whole time we were growing up, but at some point they got it. But yeah, looking at my dad's house when they were little, or like the one that his mom had been living in at the time, I remember like, this is so small. It was like 1.5 bedroom or something. It was crazy. Yeah. The yard was huge. Front yard, backyard that went to a lake, massive. But like the actual house structure, it was, I don't know, like 1/4 the size of our house growing up. And our house was like a normal size. It wasn't super big. So
it's like one of those things where they built them small on purpose to like make sure that the kids were just not in the house. Like just get it, just go outside.
That might have been a legitimate strategy. That could have been.
Go away.
Can't come inside if there's no room.
That's true. Yeah. Good. Yeah. You can play inside if you want. It's pretty lame, but
it's pretty lame. You have to sit back to back and like do something.
Yeah.
Sit in the middle of the room back to back. And you do different things, but not facing each other, or work together.
Play jacks. Just shooting.
Yeah. Marbles, jacks. Classics.
Go outside, get your hoop. You like that motion?
Go outside, get your hoop.
Yeah, you get your hoop. You got right.
Wait, what is hoop? What is hoop? How's that hoop?
That's not the hula hoop. It's the one where it's like a wheel. It's like a hoop, and you smack it with a stick. You kind of keep it. You keep it going. You ever seen that one?
The paddle, the paddle one with the string.
No. This is way back.
Hoop,
this is like 1800s.
Hoop with a stick. How old are your parents? No, I'm just kidding.
It's like a wooden hoop.
It looks
like a wheel. It just doesn't have any spokes, and then you have a stick and you hit it.
Hoop with stick game.
You just keep it rolling. You got to keep it.
Oh, yeah. This looks like something they would have in the movie Little Women or something. Like the couple of the photos that came up, they got some really old style dresses on. Is the reason I say that. Oh yeah, that's kind of I don't know if I've done that, but I've done some sort of modern take on that. Those are kind of fun. Forced you to run around. It's not a bad idea actually.
They should bring those back and see like all the TikTok videos that people come up with that are so creative on like how to hit your hoop better.
Yeah.
Back then, there was no efficiency to it, right? It was just hit this stupid hoop with your stick. But these today, it would be like, okay, what's the most effective way to hit your hoop?
Yeah, there'd be streamers. They'd be giving advice on how to do it the best. Dude,
Like
that's
a
what ruined video games.
Like a GoPro stream cam. Like, okay, we're gonna hit the hoop today.
I think our 90s version of that was that. Do you remember seeing that commercial, that infomercial for that like alien disc that you could like you would blow it up and then you would like throw it and it would like glide across and spin, but because it had air in it, it would kind of glide. I saw something of that recently and I was like, you could like bounce it. I remember the ad would always be like, you can bounce it, you can